A few things to go over. We've got a beautiful article discussing, let's see, New World Aeternum video game release details from Amazon Games directly. 8 cool things to know about Amazon Games New World Aeternum for new and returning players from the editorial content manager at Amazon Games. So we'll get into this. And then we have a new video that came out that was also linked with this. New World Aeternum. What is New World Aeternum? So we'll be watching that. Then we're going to go over some details on the PvPvE island. And basically, I'm going to be talking about and giving you guys the sources to get Mystic Doubloons without even hitting the island. And on day 1, we can get roughly 1,800 Mystic Doubloons in about 2 hours of farming without touching the island. And keep in mind, a lot of these are daily repeatable quests where you'll be able to get even more Mystic Doubloons over the course of it. So far, you're looking at 580 from daily quests, 380 or so from elite chests and CK, 340 or so from other chests just in the elite zone, and a bunch more from grabbing chests on the way with daily quests, which are just side quests from CK, but repeatable. So you have a bunch of repeatable quests that are also going to generate Mystic Doubloons. Big shout out to Moon for hooking me up with a lot of this info. But we'll get into a lot of this here, because basically it's nice that they're not forcing the end game in one way, but they also didn't communicate this whatsoever. They didn't communicate this at all. Now, if we go into this, which is our entire breakdown of every form of upgrading everything, essentially, we start out with Trial of the Devourer stuff. You have a 1-day minor sandworm spoil, 7-day major sandworm spoil. This is going to give you his named 710 gear score. Sandworm materia times 1,000 plus 2 of the Gorgon eyes give you a 725 piece. 725 artifact recipe upgrades. Matrix or a coconut, then an inductor, and you can push that up. So that shouldn't be too crazy because the coconuts will be extremely easy to get, at least like once a week, I believe. We've got the OPR crate. So this is the once a week from OPR or arenas. Formidable Warriors cache, that's weekly, and that's going to give a 701 to 725 random armor or trinket exclusively. Wait, why'd I skip that? Sorry. Anyways. Hive of the Gorgon. Over here. Raid completion rewards on a 7-day limit. You get your Gorgonite Inductor, which that Gorgonite Inductor is what's used here for the recipe upgrade. So basically with that, you also get your 10 Hive of the Gorgons tokens and your Gorgon's Eye. Looks like you're only getting 1 of these. And you need 2 of these to push something to 725 GS. So then we'll go down to each boss's loot. And keep in mind, that's just the completion. Each boss will also give 1 of these Gorgon Eyes, so you can get 4 per week at the moment. You've got your 725 GS greens, 1 to 2 per boss, and then you've got your 725 GS named. You get your shirt, your amulet, your longsword, whatever. That'll basically, these are just placeholders. So jewelry, armor, weapon. Coming over to the hoplite named reroll. So that's basically re-rolling the stuff that you get from the Gorgon. Another Matrix, Gorgon Eyes, weapon, re-roll. Easy peasy. You can also craft replica recipes at 725 GS. You've got the schematic for the Gorgon craft, which is all of your prismatic mats, and that creates your 725 GS. Again, not guaranteed to be legendary. We go down here to making the Gorgon Essence. So that takes the Inductor that you get. It also takes your Gorgon Eye that you get. You craft those into an Essence. And then you use your Essence and approximately 300 of each prismatic mat to Inductor craft a 725. So this is your Gorgonite Inductor craft at 725. So this is how you're going to be guaranteeing your perks. And it's going to be extremely expensive. It's going to be extremely expensive. Like, ridiculously expensive. So, let's head over to this side of things. Cursed Horde, Gold Curse Coconuts, and Mystic Doubloons. So, once again, the doubloons you're not even going to need. Do you have the screenshot posted? It was posted in my Discord a while ago, but here. Should be accessible for you guys. Gold Curse Coconuts on a 7-day cooldown. The coconuts used in multiple crafting upgrades as well. So you're going to want your coconuts as frequently as you can get them. Mystic Doubloons. Basically, you get 5 Mystic Doubloons. You turn those into a Glittering Gold Key. Glittering Gold Key is here. So that takes 5 Mystic Doubloons. You make your Glittering Gold Key. And that's going to give you 500 Mystic Doubloons once a week. So you have to find one of the chests. You basically throw that in the locked doubloon cache. The locked doubloon cache is going to give you 500 of these Mystic Doubloons. Okay. So as you're already seeing, there are a lot of workarounds for this. Let's hop back over here. Locked doubloon cache here. That shows that you're getting the 500 from the key. 5 key, 500. Easy peasy. Over here, we're showing the Apex upgrades, which are basically the PvPvE island upgrades. But also, these are showing the doubloon cost to go to 725. So essentially, you can use 35 of these tokens, or these doubloons, 3 times one day. So that's going to be, what, 105? 105. And that's going to give you Apex Gold Cursed Armor with a 5% chance of being legendary. I'm pretty sure that's what this means, is a 5% chance of being legendary. I didn't make this graphic. It would look a lot worse if I made it. But then on the 7-day cooldown, you've essentially got 1,800 costs, 1,500 costs, 1,500 costs, 1,250 costs for a weaponry roll. And this is going to give you all of your 725 stuff. Or, for the weapons, you can end up getting a 725 named GS. So that's basically a rundown of what you're seeing here. This covers all of the upgrades, and these are the ways that you'll be able to get 725 GS. If it's not on this, it's not 725 GS. Just straight up, it's not. So that's something to keep in mind. This is their attempt to time gate legacy players to allow freshies to catch up. Might even drop requirements in a few months. So it only hurts new players. And I say this because legacy players and people that have played it are going to have access to all of this. And as a result, I'm going to take you through how you can get roughly 1,800 gold doubloons, or mystic doubloons, sorry, in approximately 2 hours of playing on day 1. And you can just keep those rolling after the fact as well. So stuff like this doesn't hurt the existing player base. On top of that, stuff like this doesn't hurt the competitive player base. So if their attempt is to time gate older players, they actually would have been better off making gear more easily accessible, because then players who only have a couple hours to play would have had a chance to get to the end game gear. But essentially what's happened is they're making gearing extremely time gated, and you have to do specific things that cover every aspect of the game, which benefits players who play 6+ hours a day, as well as everyday players, because you've got daily rewards. Casual players and a lot of fresh players won't be logging in every day to do their 3x gold cursed, their raids, their sandworm trials. They're not going to have the resources, the people to do that with, especially on day 1. So if you're a fresh player, you're going to be behind unless you have all of this. So that's kind of one of my issues. Like, I understand like where they're going with it, but theory and practice are often 2 different results. And in theory, their time gating is targeted at like the legacy players who know what they're doing. But in practice, all of this information is already available to legacy players, and new players that aren't already in the game involved in communities aren't going to see this. And for that reason, it's kind of rough, in my opinion. And I think that a lot of it will be changed as we go on. Because as of right now, I'm going to have a significant advantage over any player that doesn't know exactly what to do. So, let's break it down a little bit more. Now, my sources have given me a very good write-up on this. There's one part of the write-up where I'm not entirely sure and didn't quite follow. But apparently there's a way to get a lot of like 710 gear score gear. Realistically, like, I don't know why you need all of these time-gated systems when in all actuality, every MMO just has drops that you farm. And if you don't get your drop, then you go back next week. If I'm playing WoW Classic Burning Crusade, tanking on my Paladin, and I need one piece of tier gear from Curator, and I don't get that piece of tier gear, I'm waiting a week. That gives me something to shoot for, something to strive for. It gives a little bit of RNG as well. And personally, I think drop-based systems for gearing have always been more fun. But that's also my personal preference. What up, Dot? How you doing, Gangly? So, essentially what we're looking at here, the key gets you 500, but these are your mystic doubloons that everybody is like, oh, I've got to go to the PvP island to get these. What if I told you that there are 46 different quests where you can get mystic doubloons? And a lot of these are repeatable quests in Cutlass keys, because these were previously the side quests in Cutlass, and when they redid Cutlass, they made these repeatable. So now you have yet another farm of doubloons that takes you nowhere near the island, okay? So, on top of that, each of these chests will also give doubloons. This is the only content we're gonna have for 6+ months. I don't think you're wrong. Basically, this is Curse Mists. This is where the PvPvE island is. This is not in the PvPvE island. Yo, Tam Toucan, appreciate the follow, gang. Here, you see a lot of chests that will have the same loot pool as the chests on the Cursed Island, the PvPvE island, or the Cursed Mists, or whatever the f it's called, which you can farm. That's a CK Elite Zone, yes sir! A CK ECR, so to say. So, essentially what we're looking at here. 580 doubloons from daily quests, 380 or so from elite chests and CK, 340 or so from small or large chests. I think they meant to say small or large chests. Just in the elite zone, plus a bunch more from grabbing quests on the way with the daily quests, which are just a side quest from CK but repeatable. In the revamp, that's what we got hit with. So day one, you get roughly 1,800 doubloons in about 2 hours of ECR and quests, none of which involves the PvP zone. So this is the one part that I'm unsure of, because I haven't seen where you can transform or basically convert your doubloons into like 710 gear. I didn't see anywhere on my sheet, so I do need to verify this. But the person claims 7 pieces of 710 gear with random perks, throw in 3 artifacts, upgrade 1 with a golden coconut, and you've outgeared gear score wise all the other content in the game in 2 hours of ECR and quests. Aside from your gold cursed coconut, which is 0 risk, you don't drop it on death, but it's kind of annoying to get, you have literally no reason to go to the free-for-all island. None. Because you can just hit a chest run and do side quests that are repeatable. Get 1,800 doubloons. Now, the PvP island will give more, like if you're farming the shit out of that, right? So I linked this already. I'll link it again. But this is the entire cheat. So basically, your Gorgonite Inductor, you get 1 Gorgonite Inductor per 7 days. You get 4 Gorgonites for completing the raid once every 7 days. So realistically, you take your Inductor and 1 of those Gorgonites. You make 1 Gorgon Essence a week. And at most, you can craft 1 725 GS piece for hundreds of thousands of gold once a week. So that's going to be a little unfortunate, too, in my opinion. I think that that's a severe gate, not only a time gate, but like a money gate. That's going to lead to more swiping. That's going to lead to more discrepancy within the player base, because if you don't swipe, you're going to be at a significant disadvantage. I don't plan to swipe anyways, but for those that don't know, swiping is basically a term for just spending real money on gold. You spend your United States dollary dues on a website called g2g.com, and you put your credit card in, and somebody named Helen Wong will come over and probably give you gold cap if you pay enough money. So stuff like that is very important to keep in mind, like what we're facilitating here. Basically what we're looking at here is absolutely no reason to actually step into the Curse Mist whatsoever, unless you want to. But legitimately no reason whatsoever to step into the Curse Mist. You just do an ECR each day. You do your daily repeatable quests each day. And you're getting 1,000 doubloons a day. Just right off rip. That's just what you're getting. And that's without going into the Curse Miss. Keep in mind. That's with 0 adventuring into the Curse Miss. Kind of in my opinion. But at least we know now, I guess. Basically what AGS tried to tell us. Yeah, what up, Jug? What AGS tried to tell us was that the Curse Miss would be necessary for your doubloons. You'd have to go there, you go to the island, you do this, you do that, you go crazy. And essentially, as we know, AGS, not always the strongest with communication. It seems that they've dropped yet another ball in terms of communicating to their player base. So that basically takes us through a lot of that. That takes us through a lot of your gearing, how you're gonna gear, how quickly you can gear. And realistically, day 1, if you do all of your quests, you do an ECR, about 2 hours of gameplay, day 1, you'll be able to outgear 99.9% of the content in the game, and at that point, you'll just be crafting and you'll be a higher gear score than pretty much everybody else.